Boruto's most faithful trio will receive the most surprising fate, and the countdown has already begun. The person that he has entrusted everything upon will receive a fateful end from the most unexpected person. The one who has been waiting for him and showing her support from day one won't be around in the story for long, and his own kith and kin will prove to be the driving force of the story. But that's not all. The story's transition from the end of the Shinju arc to the next big thing will bring a lot to the table that no one is expecting. Just like how we did not expect Hidari to die so soon, even though there's a slight chance of his comeback. If you have seen this video, you must be knowing why I think so. But some interesting plots like the secret reason Amado has teamed up Kawaki and Delta, or the emergence of Momoshiki that will change everything about the story, are the most plausible possibilities of Two Blue Vortex. But those are the topics for some future videos. Today we are going to use the future seeing power of the crystal ball to figure out the fate of Kashin Koji, Sarada and Himawari. Out of all the allies of Boruto, Kashin Koji is the most interesting one since he was cloned from the Sannin who bore a mighty fate. As amusing his backstory is going to be, his future role will be as huge as well. I'm saying this because just like Boruto, he's also a part of some formidable prophecy. Now you may not have noticed when it was revealed to Koji, but Ishiki literally said something to him which could have foreshadowed his endgame. The reason I think it was a prophecy is because Otsutsuki's are superior to mankind and have the power to see the forthcoming. They can literally see how many odds are there and then work to switch them in their favor. Momoshiki failed at taking over Boruto due to some miscalculations on the vessel's willpower. Ishiki also failed the same way by underestimating Kawaki, but this doesn't lower the merit of their words and their observations of the mortal world. Kashin Koji's life is currently dedicated to saving the world with Boruto. He has apparently went on some mind-boggling adventures with his student during the time skip period. The reason I think so is because he had already seen the Thorn Soul Bulb somewhere, meaning that a flashback arc could be coming very soon. It would reveal how and where Koji had seen this item before. The first possibility could be Amado's lab, where he was secretly testing the Shinjus and Koji observed everything. He knows the true plans and plots of Amado, and maybe that's why Boruto is not revealing his source to anyone. The scientist could have the switch to Kashin Koji or could plan out something to exterminate him. This may be why he's not appearing himself, and Boruto is doing the main job by putting his trust on Koji. Second possibility says someone else might have become a Shinju during the time skip. Jura and gang arise from the Ten-Tails platforms, but the older ones could have appeared on the spot, and as expected, Koji could have defeated them, leading to the cultivation of a Thorn Soul Bulb. The next one says Momoshiki showing Kashin Koji what's about to come, which is why he says it's the same as I saw last time. The time when he saw this could be a foresight trip of Momoshiki, whose sole motive could have been to frighten Koji so that he gives up. As for the final possibility, instead of a future vision, it could be a journey to the past, where Boruto and Koji might have witnessed the horrors of Ten-Tails as well as these items that many people missed. But there was no hint of Thorn Soul Bulbs during the events of Shippuden, so maybe Boruto and Koji traveled to the times of Kaguya or before. Or it could even be an outer space travel, which is how they acquired so much knowledge. It would even give life to the Toneri theory, since the best place for Boruto in studying the movements of the planet would be the moon, and if he has actually went there, he must have unsealed Otsutsuki Toneri as well. Well, talking about Otsutsukis, let's get back to the prophecy about Koji, which determines his upcoming fate in the story. So Ishiki said to Koji that it was predetermined by his genes that he would die here. The deeper meaning behind this statement is really thought-provoking. That's why I think it's no less of a prophecy. When Ishiki said it was predestined in his genes, what he meant was that Koji is going to die in a similar way to Jiraiya. We know Jiraiya died by the joint attack of 6 paths of pain, and the final nail to kill him were the chakra rods. The same chakra rods are summoned by Ishiki, and this was not a coincidence at all. The genes of Jiraiya had paved a way for Koji to die by these chakra rods, summoned from the Kurogan of Ishiki. But he somehow delayed his destiny by successfully escaping from the scene. However, destiny can only be delayed but not denied. There is still someone in the story who possesses the Kurogan, the eye that summons the chakra rods. And not to mention, this person has the DNA of late Ishiki Otsutsuki, and if we connect this with the destiny is pre-written by Jin's narrative, there is only one thing that comes out of it. Kashin Koji can still die by the hands of Ishiki since his genes are still there residing within Kawaki. It would also fulfill the gene predetermination on Koji's part since he could die exactly the same way as Jiraiya. Now the question remains, what are the odds for Kawaki to kill Kashin Koji? Well, he would soon need a power-up in the story, and Amado is someone who can give that to him. There is no way the scientist would just let someone who knows all of his secrets remain alive, so he could send Kawaki to kill him in return of giving him this power-up from the flash forward. But I don't think he would even need to order him to kill Koji after providing him the power-up, and the reason lies within the clone itself. He did not have a free will of his own until Ishiki was dealt with. If he was still under Amado's command, he wouldn't have helped Boruto and could most likely act as a spy for the scientist. But he didn't do anything like that, which means once the purpose has been fulfilled, his programming allowed him to have free will. Amado assumed he will not survive the Ishiki fight, so he did not program him with an automatic shutdown feature. This is how Koji tapped into free will and followed the path predetermined by his genes. He fulfilled the legacy of Jiraiya by training and helping the next savior of the world. But this also proves the vital thing about Amado's programming. He can literally command his cyborgs to make a certain purpose their life goal. And in case of future Kawaki, it could be the death of Kashin Koji as well as the end of the Shinobi age. We will discuss the old man's feud with Shinobi some other time, so make sure to subscribe for that. Before moving forward to the next close ally of Boruto, let me tell you guys something about Kawaki and Delta that would explain the big brain game of Amado. It also hints at Kawaki's death, and I would leave the conclusion to you guys. Let me know in the comments what would happen to Kawaki if a scenario like this comes to life. Imagine Jura, or let's say some other enemy, cause the Shinju has already provided plot armor to Kawaki, shoots at him on point blank range, which makes him suffer and leads him to the verge of death. No one would come to save him since he had no good relations with anyone. This would only leave him with one choice. Kawaki would be forced to implant a karma on Delta, his only teammate, and guess what would happen after that? It would fulfill the plan of Amado, as Kawaki would give his karma to RKB's clone, reviving the daughter of the scientist once for all. Now either it would be RKB or an Otsutsuki as predicted by Kawaki himself, but one thing is clear, that both of them cannot coexist in Delta's body, cause that would be weird and senseless. So do you believe Kawaki's karma implantation on the verge of death would be the end for him? Tell me your thoughts on this in the comment section below. As we move on to the next big loss of Boruto, I would like to reinstate the supremacy of Otsutsukis on mankind and how the same applies to Momoshiki. The monster may have lost the battle, but it appears in the flash forward that he did win the war. Boruto was not able to save his village. This time he physically lost everything that was dear to him. The place that his forefathers had been saving by playing on their life was destroyed as if it never existed. Momoshiki's prophecies were indeed true. A dark future which could make anyone go insane and self-destructive. This is the power of the Otsutsuki clan. The concepts of fate and destiny are created by the ones who reach the highest peak in their clan, and it may be why they get the leverage of foreseeing the fate of the inferiors. In case of Boruto, he did not fall prey to his dark destiny early, as his childhood friend had sent someone to save him. This automatically puts Sarada in a vulnerable position. She is the one who flopped the plans of Momoshiki. The resentment must be still alive in the heart of the monster, and maybe that's why Boruto was so afraid when his karma resonated. The life of Sarada is on stake due to his presence in the village, but the dark future is on its way, and there is little to nothing that he can do about it. But the way I believe Sarada is going to end might not have anything to do with Boruto or even Momoshiki. The role of Sarada might face a temporary pause by the one with whom she shares an interesting contrast. Kawaki could be the one to make her disappear from the story for a while, and it may have been already foreshadowed with the contrast in their ocular powers. Sarada's Mangekyo appears to be spreading the light, while the Kurogen seems to be absorbing the light. This is also a metaphorical reference to their roles, like Kawaki is concealing the truth, while Sarada's endeavor is to reveal it. The power of the Deuteragonist is called Daikoguten, and the mythological variant of this entity is Benzaiten. By this we can expect the next ability of Sarada to be called Benzaiten. The connection of these two deities in the Japanese folklore stems from them being a part of the 7 lucky gods. Both of them originate from the Hindu deities Mahalakala and Saraswati respectively, enhancing the possibility for them establishing a blueprint for the fate of Sarada and Kawaki. The end of Boruto's biggest supporter is about to be marked by his biggest hater once he uses the Daikoguten to seal her away. But we might get to see some of her abilities before that happens. So here is how I think she is going to showcase her massive powers. The Mangekyo literally means the kaleidoscope eye, and Sarada's Mangekyo is the only one, shaped like the item itself. The shape may also be a reference to the lotus of Saraswati, the Hindu goddess, on whom Benzaiten is based. She is often regarded the dispeller of ignorance, and as we know, the omnipotence has manifested a false narrative in the shinobi world. The role of Sarada might be to get rid of this falsehood and save the image of her friend. The omnipotence works like giving religious feelings to people regarding a certain lie, which is why it becomes extremely hard for them to accept anything else. It's like they have lived their whole life with that belief, so no matter how hard someone tries, the victims would never switch up. But Sarada, as we know, was able to make Sasuke trust her words, which is how the life of Boruto was saved once. But this doesn't end her contribution to the story. She might figure out a way to remain relevant, otherwise things can take a really ugly turn. There is literally no way for her to scale to the level of Boruto. She was able to perform well against Hidari since he was learning everything from scratch. If he was an expert at using his powers, Sarada would have been annihilated very early in the story. But this luck is not going to work for long, so that's why her getting sealed by Kawaki is the best possibility to exist. However, she is going to be useful to the plot in one way or another, as Sasuke himself said that Boruto and Sarada are the key to saving the world. The Hidari theories of powering her up have officially come to an end, and she cannot even consume her soul thorn bulb to get strong, cause that's the key to revitalizing Sasuke. In a scenario like this where Boruto and Himawari got fated abilities to fight the strongest foes, Sarada must unlock something that would let her be an important supporting pillar, especially during tough battles. Well, the dial on her Mangekyo also resembles a clock, so maybe she would have a time-related ability just like Momoshiki. In the latest chapter, Boruto asked her to buy her some time so that he could charge the Uzuhiko. So what he needs the most to charge his most broken power is the divergence of his opponent's attention for a good amount of time. The reason Kawaki jumped in the scene to kill Hidari is because the Uzuhiko hadn't fully charged. This is why the best power for Sarada could be to manipulate the time of his opponent just so Boruto could finish them with the final blow. It could make them the unstoppable duo until and unless Kawaki decides to get her sealed. For moral reasons and Boruto's pledge, Kawaki gets a strange plot armor, meaning that we may not see Boruto using his Uzuhiko on him. Note that he did not hear the conversation of Boruto from the latest chapter that Jura did, so he still has no idea about this limitless Rasengan, meaning that Boruto could use it to destroy him sometime in the future. With Sarada's incompetence being her biggest flaw as a character, there is another major ally of Boruto whose overpoweredness could get her in trouble. I'm talking about Himawari, and how her newly unlocked Kurama power might not work the best in her favor. She may have the leverage of using the powers of a Biju, but she is still the target of the most broken enemy. Jura won't leave any stone unturned to feed Kawaki to the 10 tails, get Boruto killed, and devour Himawari. A single Biju Dama from such a long distance fainted the main character in a matter of seconds. He could literally be the most agonizing villain of the story so far. Now Himawari's role waters down to some things that may or may not be in the favor of the good guys. First and foremost, she needs to master the Biju powers, which is not an overnight thing to begin with. So unless there is a training arc where she may evolve her powers to a desirable extent, Kawaki may have to seal her as well. But it would waste the whole Kurama coming back narrative, so there must be something more to it. We already know how her compatibility with Kurama was built, but it wasn't enough to deal with the main bad guy. She may have surpassed Kawaki, but her time to shine against the main villain has not come yet. One thing is clear, that her involvement is going to be drastic in the story, as she appears to be the other Blue Vortex who was foreshadowed in the title of the sequel. But the question remains if she would be able to justify this mighty fate or not. It's not about her power levels or skill set, that will obviously tend to be a lot more powerful than the other people. Rather, her endeavor of improvement, which would certainly take some time. The next major role for Himawari that I think would be the most plausible could be to defeat Matsuri, the Shinju variant of Moegi. She has been around Team 10 for a reason, and Konohamaru has been given the duty to protect her. So if Matsuri appears to devour him, it must be the job of Himawari to destroy her and revive Moegi with the Thorn Soul Bulb. The Bug Shinju is more likely the target of Daemon and may not get involved with Himawari. In a nutshell, a training arc could teach a lot to Himawari, and she may be able to provide a helping hand to her brother. Otherwise, she would be doomed to become a broken burden, something that was destined to be lost by Boruto. Well, if you guys wanna know about the Lost Clan, whose lore would be brought back very soon, check out the video on the left. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stuff. I will see you next time.